There we go. We on one. Oh, baby. Come on in. I love when that happens. It is a frosty one out here this morning. We're fishing the Cumberland River out here in Tennessee. We're starting out with that 3-inch spark shad as well as that 2-inch slabalicious. Let's see what we can do this morning. It's pretty chilly. It's about 35 degrees right now. However, we're looking at getting into the 40s today and we should have some sunshine on the way. So we're dealing with some light stainage, nothing too bad. We had a little bit of rain not too long ago. I think it might actually aid us in catching some fish today. And I got that 3-inch spark shad tied on a ball jig with a sickle type hook. Really like that color, man. It just pops, it really stands out. Great wiggle as expected from that spark shad. Running 6-pound mono actually. I'm a really big fluorocarbon guy. However, just picked up this rod and I already had this reel pre-spooled. So I don't think it should make too much of a difference this morning. We're primarily targeting white bass, but the possibilities are pretty limitless out here on the Cumberland this time of year. Catch a lot of interesting species, as well as some nice largemouth and spots occasionally. Last week we did. I don't think this should take long. I'm gonna know within a couple casts if we're gonna have to jump spots or really work for these fish, or if they're eating right here, and they certainly are. I was out fishing yesterday and this spot was pretty hot, as well as another one I was working, so let's see what we got on. Little white, nothing too big. We might end up jumping spots to try to get on a school of larger ones. Pretty fish though. There we go, you're cold. Our first fish on the smaller side of what we're going to be catching today, but a beautiful healthy little white bass. We'll get her back in. We're going to keep going at it. If we continue to catch them on the smaller side, I will make a jump. I mean, look at the black tip it's got on its fin, tail fin. That's pretty neat, man. Pretty fish. So we'll catch another one on this spark shad and then we'll switch over to our other bait, see if they want to eat that slabalicious. I love spark shads, man. They're just a little expensive. Sometimes I kind of avoid using them due to that. However, I had some of these laying around. I figured I'd take them out on the water. So this is the new rod I picked up. It's an Abu Garcia Pro Series. Now, I've never been a huge Abu man when it comes to rods. However, I tried their other Pro Series one. It's a medium 7-1 maybe. Oh, there we go, we're on. And I absolutely loved it. So I just picked up this medium light skipjack and have been quite enjoying it. It's an awesome rod. They just do it right with this Pro Series. It's a 610 medium light and fast action. It's got a great action. It doesn't impede the load up, whatnot. These skipjack are a ton of fun to catch. However, they absolutely shred your baits. Cool fish. I talk about these a lot on my channel. They are a migrant species, so we don't catch them year round here on the Cumberland. However, when it gets colder out, even late October, they start showing up. By early spring, man, they are going to be running this river. It's almost a nuisance sometimes. Cool fish though, very, very aggressive. Like I said, they shred your baits. Let's see if we can squeeze another fish out of this. So moving on to our slabalicious. Little 2-incher right there, white with a round bend hook on a 1/8 ounce jig head. We're running 6-pound fluorocarbon. Do a BFS casting setup, so light casting gear, got a light rod and a light reel on. Should be able to absolutely fling these out here. Not a great search bait, however, when you're sitting on them the way I think we are right now, should work even better than that larger profile bait we were working. Now, I gotta say, I'm extremely sore right now. I was filming a video yesterday and actually fell backwards while sitting on these rocks, which is hard to do, but I'll show you all the footage right now. This might be, Yikes. I gotta say, man, I'm fine. However, falling on the rocks hits a lot different in your 30s than it does in your 20s. We're gonna be working this bait with a lot of twitches, pops. These fish respond really, really well to it. They get pretty aggressive. It also draws attention to our smaller profile bait out here. I'm not really just ripping it through the water with these pops. I'm almost giving it really subtle jerks like this and letting it kind of fall in place. There we go. We on one. Oh, baby. Come on in. I love when that happens. As you can see, this bad boy has a little drag clicker on there. It's a ton of fun. It feels like a decent fish, man. It's putting up quite a fight. It's a heavy one. I mean, look at that rod candy canyon. If you've never fought these fish before, just envision combining a drum and a largemouth. It's kind of what it's like. Pretty one. She's got a little bit of size to her. This is a lighter rod than the other one I'm working. Good looking fish though. I do find these fish bite better in the morning. However, you can't catch them all day long into the evening. Temp wise, I'd say anywhere from 25 up this time of year. Last year we dipped into the teens. It got pretty cold out. We had a couple smaller bodies of water freeze up. The river doesn't really freeze, at least I haven't seen it since I lived here. However, there is like a documented case of it I read in the, there we go, that's a nice one. I think 40s or something like that, where it froze over. Pretty cool old pictures of that. There we go. I don't know if I really finished that thought. I was kind of getting at when we drop down in really, really low temps, they don't bite quite as well, but 20s and up, you're usually in for a good time out here. So this is a decent sized one. I call this a good mid-sized white bass. They get a lot better in this area. We're pretty blessed with some big ones. I'd say next month or the following, they should be huge, just packed full of eggs. Get you back in. And we're on. Yeah, buddy. They just want to run you into those rocks. That's a nice one right there. So this is an eating fish, man. That's an eater for sure. This is the size that I like to catch, man. They fight hard. Look at that belly. She's an absolute beauty. Got the old barge moving through, man. There's a lot of barge traffic on this river. See if we can get that barge bite on. I know this gentleman, nice guy, I've talked to him before. Love that tracker too. Come on, give me one more fish before this boat hits. That's what I'm talking about. Little tiny one. Itty bitty. That barge bite, shout out to my buddy Kyle. Years ago we were joking around about Those bars aggravating the fish, all that noise causing that bite to pick up. Oh man, give me that back. One issue with these is a little bit of durability, but it's one of the best smaller paddle tails on the market. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I had a great time making this one as always. If you did, drop a like, consider subscribing. It really does help push the channel. Now let's get into these lures. First up, we have that 3-inch Megabass Spark Shad, weighing in at roughly 4.25 grams. You throw that 1/8 ounce ball head jig I like to work it on, you're sitting somewhere in the ballpark of 7.86 grams. Now this is an outstanding little bait. The color is Hiu, at least that's how I pronounce it. And I have been wrong before, I'm just gonna put that out there. It's spelled Hiuo. I'm assuming that's Japanese. Very, very cool color. It looks like this, it shows up very, very well in stained water. That's why I continue to buy it. Now, big fan of this bait, dude. I love how well-rounded it is for a smaller 3-inch paddle tail. I think the size and weight are just on point for it. It's got a great action, really, really good wiggle, and it just flat out gets bit. I've caught a lot of fish on this bait. Other things I like about it, immediate action when it hits the water. It tends to dart to one side, and I really like that up. I like to toss it in, let it kind of dart, and then pop it up really quick. I feel like that helps me generate strikes. At least that's what I tell myself. It's got a great action. It's a very, very well-rounded, like I said. Just an outstanding little paddle tail. It's extremely detailed too. It's got little pectoral fins on there. I mean, you got a little tail fin right there. Things I don't really like about it, there's not too much. Well, first off, the price. Unfortunately for Megabass, I like to pay my bills on time, so I don't fish these very, very often. A 6-pack for $9 to $10. I mean, that's kind of steep, man. However, it is a great lure. I do trust it to catch fish. Durability, it's reasonably durable, I'll put it that way. Obviously you can see as soon as that skipjack hit that fresh bait, man, it was hanging off the hook. It tears fairly easy. I guess I would give it a 5 out of 10 for durability. I've fished many less durable soft plastic. I've also fished many more durable soft plastic. So it's just kind of in the medium right there. So great action, not super durable. Eyeballs tend to fall off. Not that I think that matters at all. There's one that I spent a little bit. And the way I like to fish them, they tend to tear right up here. You can refix them a handful of times before they just really start slipping on you out there. All around great bait, man. I mean, nobody can really argue that. Megabass is an extremely awesome JDM company. I mean, they're very, very innovative. They got some good stuff, but that price, dude, it's steep. Now let's get into our next bait. Last up, we were throwing that 2-inch Slabalicious by Strike King and Mr. Crappie. Now this little baby weighs in at roughly 1.38 grams. You throw that 1/8 ounce ball head in there, you're sitting somewhere in the ballpark of 4.66 grams. I absolutely love this little finesse paddle tail. They come in a generous 15-pack. It's like $4 too. There's a lot of value in this lure. I'm a big fan of it, man. And they do have some pretty neat color schemes out there. You can get like bright chartreuse tails. I tend to go with white, man. It just gets hit. That's, you know, you can't really go wrong with white. It's got great durability. I don't recall ever having an issue with my tail being nipped off repeatedly or anything like that. It can be reset several times without it slipping off your hook. It seemed to fit that round bend a bit better than the sickle. That's why I went with that. The only thing I could really think of is the packaging. It does tend, if your bait's sitting in there for a while, like this one I just pulled out, sometimes the tails will have little kinks in them, but I don't find it really affects the action in the actual water. Well, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas out there. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and get some good fish on, my friends. Peace.